Hello, dear friends. Today's conversation is dedicated to a review of the diet known as intermittent fasting. Adherents of this diet claim that it promotes weight loss, reduces blood pressure, cholesterol, and inflammation, improves brain function, protects against cancer, helps reduce blood sugar, and prolongs life. All these claims we mostly hear from either celebrities or read in popular science articles. I will share scientifically proven facts about this diet derived from research. Based on these facts, I will advise on this way of eating. The essence of the diet with intermittent fasting is that periods of complete denial of food, usually from 12 hours, alternate with periods when the person eats as usual, without food restriction and to the fullest. Modern diets have eating patterns of 6 hours in 18 hours, 8 hours in 16 hours, 18 hours in 36 hours, 24 hours in 24 hours, that is, every other day. The first number is the number of hours during which you can eat, and the second number is the fasting time. For example, the diet 8 hours in 16 hours means that it is allowed to eat for 8 hours a day, then 16 hours of fasting, and so repeats day after day. There is also the 2 days and 5 days system. This diet means that for 2 of any non-consecutive days in a week, you have to fast, and for 5 days you have to eat as usual. The period when one is allowed to eat is called the food window. Let's understand how this diet works. First, it is essential to understand what happens during a complete fast. From approximately 12 hours of fasting, the glycogen stores in the liver and muscles run out. When glycogen stores are depleted, the body begins to use fat for energy. Blood glucose levels drop by more than 20%, and ketone bodies are produced to fuel all the body's needs. Fasting leads to changes in metabolism, intracellular processes, and levels of certain hormones. Insulin sensitivity improves, blood pressure decreases, fat stores decrease, blood glucose levels drop, inflammation subsides, and poor cholesterol levels decrease. In laboratory animals, fasting improved the course of type 2 diabetes, cancer, and cardiovascular diseases. Also, fasting in the experiment increased the life expectancy of rodents by 30%. It turned out that fasting causes activation of those intracellular mechanisms that are responsible for aging. It was found that energy deficiency stimulates the autophagy processes when inside the cell disintegrates and removes harmful particles and waste products. Stimulation of autophagy processes is one of the means of prolonging life. Energy deficiency also helps to protect genetic material from mutations and, consequently, reduces the likelihood of cancer. It turns out that for fasting to work fully for all its positive effects, you need to limit the number of calories by 20%. That is, you need to be undernourished. This strategy is suitable for a person who wants to lose weight, but it is not appropriate for the long term and for people who want to improve and maintain their health. It is impossible to live on such a diet for a long time. The way out was found when it was realized that the beneficial effect of hunger begins approximately from the 12th hour of fasting. If you do not eat for more than 12 to 14 hours and then eat a full meal, the body develops the same positive effects as in complete fasting, but the person does not suffer much and does not lose weight. With this approach, it is possible to follow the regimen for a very long time without harm to health. Let's understand what approaches in intermittent fasting work best and whether this diet regimen helps us at all. I found a recent paper in the journal Nutrition that compiles the results of numerous studies regarding different types of intermittent fasting. The 2 days a week fasting, 5 days a week eating regimen results in weight loss, improved insulin sensitivity and biochemical health indicators, and lower blood pressure. The data on the 24 hours after 24 hours regimen is very inconsistent. In one study of healthy, slim men, this diet did not change their weight. In another study, obese men had a 5.8% weight loss. A third study showed no weight loss but improved insulin sensitivity. An 8 hours and 16 hours eating regimen reduced body fat, preserved muscle mass, and improved biochemical health parameters in men who perform strength training. In another study, such a regimen caused no changes, good or bad. That said, All intermittent fasting regimens worked well in laboratory rats. Another study was published in the journal Cell. It tested people with metabolic syndrome. It is a condition where a person has excessive fat deposition, high blood pressure, high blood sugar, elevated cholesterol, or triglycerides simultaneously. Before the study began, these people ate for an average of 15 hours daily. They were asked to eat for only 10 hours without changing their diet. Participants started eating from 8 to 10 a.m. and stopped eating at 6 to 8 p.m. respectively. 19 participants were followed for 12 weeks. At the end of the follow-up, weight decreased by an average of 3%. Waist circumference decreased by 4 centimeters, reduced blood pressure, and poor cholesterol levels dropped. There was no control group in this study. The benefits of intermittent fasting have not been proven. Conflicting results may have occurred because different people ate different amounts of food during the restricted food window. Everyone has varying digestion. Some people can swallow much food at once, while others cannot eat more than a certain amount. Differences in daily calorie intake will depend on this. The less a person ate during the food window, the better the effect, and vice versa. There is no harm from intermittent fasting in general. The question is open only to people with gallstones or biliary disorders. Theoretically, weight loss at the initial stage can lead to changes in the composition of bile and increase the level of cholesterol in it, hence the formation of stones. Also, bile stagnates during fasting for a long time, and sediment may form in it. These two factors act in the same direction. Only the development of stones never starts in a healthy person without preconditions. Usually, even during fasting, people swallow saliva and drink water. It stimulates bile flow, preventing stagnation. It's still worth getting an ultrasound before starting a diet. I would recommend intermittent fasting as an alternative to a rigid health diet with many restrictions, mainly because this diet is easy to follow. The effect of any diet is primarily built on whether the person can stick to it. With intermittent fasting, there are no restrictions on the quantity and quality of food. You don't have to think about what you can and can't eat. Precise food window times are easy to follow. You don't have to depend on specific breakfast, lunch, or dinner hours. You are allowed to eat when you want and as much as you want. The 8 hours by 16 hours eating pattern is optimal. The food window should be placed as early as possible, start eating from 8 to 7 a.m., and finish at 15 to 16 hours. If you need to lose weight, you can follow the 6-hour food window for the weight loss period and switch to 8 hours to maintain weight loss. Why is it better to do the food window in the morning rather than in the afternoon and before bedtime? First, more energy is wasted during the day than at night. You are more likely to waste those calories if you eat before 3 p.m. If you eat in the evening, energy expenditure is minimized during sleep, and the calories will be converted to fat. Second, eating increases insulin levels, which increases cholesterol production. Interestingly, cholesterol is synthesized most actively at night. If we stimulate this process with insulin, we will get fresh, poor cholesterol in the morning. Third, a person wants to eat less during the day and does not overeat, and vice versa in the evening. Fourthly, our body works differently during the day. In the morning and afternoon, metabolic processes are more active, and the levels of hormones and digestive enzymes are such that even relatively unhealthy foods are safe. In the evening, on the other hand, metabolism slows down. Although you can eat whatever you like during intermittent fasting during the food window, you should approach the diet sensibly and under all conditions avoid fast food, sausage, cheese with palm oil, and so on. Thank you for your attention. Always for you, Dr. PopMed.